There is a wisdom in silence that the world has forgotten. In a time where everyone is eager to speak, eager to share, eager to be understood, what happens to the strength of the one who chooses to hold his story within? Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every wound needs to be revealed. There is a deep power in carrying your journey silently, not because you are hiding, but because you are learning. Strength does not come from broadcasting your struggle. It comes from surviving it. Like the roots of a great tree that grow strongest beneath the surface, so too must your experiences settle deep within you, forming the foundation of who you are becoming. You do not need validation. You do not need applause. You need discipline, clarity, and the courage to walk forward without the need to explain. This is not about secrecy. This is about sacredness. Your story is not entertainment. It is a lesson, and the right time, the right people, the right moment will reveal itself if it must. Until then, be silent, be focused, and keep walking. In a world that constantly demands our attention and encourages us to share every thought, every feeling, and every experience, the idea of silence has become unfamiliar and often misunderstood. But silence, when chosen with intention, is not a sign of weakness. It is a powerful demonstration of strength. The one who is silent does not lack words, but possesses the discipline to withhold them. The one who chooses not to speak does not suffer from confusion, but moves with clarity and control. When you embrace silence, you step away from the noise of external validation and into the sanctuary of your own presence. There is an ancient wisdom that says, the more you speak, the more energy you lose. With every word shared, there is a piece of your inner world being given away. This is not to say that communication is wrong, but rather to understand that not every story, every struggle, or every victory needs to be spoken aloud. Sometimes the most profound growth occurs in solitude, in silence, in the places where no one is watching. It is in those moments that you come to understand who you truly are, when no one is listening and no one is applauding. The strength in silence also lies in its restraint. Anyone can speak, anyone can react, but very few can hold their tongue when provoked, remain still when disturbed, or carry pain without broadcasting it. This form of inner control is like a blade sharpened over time, not loud, not flashy, but effective and precise. In martial arts, power is not in the wild swing, but in the controlled strike. Likewise, in life, power is not found in speaking everything you feel, but in choosing what deserves to be said and what is better left unsaid. When you hold your story within, you are not denying its importance. You are respecting its weight. You understand that your experiences are not entertainment for others to consume, debate, or dissect. You understand that not everyone who listens does so with compassion. Some will use your story against you, others will diminish it, and many will not understand it at all. And that is why silence becomes your shield. It becomes a way to protect what is sacred within you until it has matured into wisdom, until it is ready to be shared from a place of strength, not need. Silence also teaches you to observe. When you are not busy speaking, you begin to listen. You hear the intentions behind words. You notice the contradictions between actions and promises. You begin to see through masks because your mind is not distracted by your own voice. This observational power is what allows you to navigate life with greater clarity. You become less reactive, more deliberate. You stop wasting time trying to convince people of your worth, and instead invest that energy into building it. There is also healing in silence. When you are always speaking about your wounds, you keep reopening them. You stay trapped in a cycle of narration instead of transformation. But when you become silent, you allow yourself to feel without performing. You sit with your pain, you learn from it, you allow it to breathe and then dissolve. No audience, no applause, just you and your truth, raw and unfiltered. That kind of healing is not easy, but it is real. It does not come with temporary relief. It comes with lasting understanding. In silence, you also cultivate inner peace. The less you need to explain yourself, the freer you become. The moment you stop needing others to understand your path is the moment you reclaim your power. Peace comes when you no longer carry the burden of being seen, heard, or understood by everyone. Peace comes when you walk with purpose, not permission, and that purpose becomes clearer when your mind is not constantly projecting outward but centered inward. Finally, silence creates space for insight, for clarity, for energy to return to you. Every time you resist the urge to explain, defend, or seek approval, you store energy, you store dignity, you strengthen the bond with your higher self, and in that stillness you find not emptiness, but fullness. Not absence, but presence. Your journey is sacred. It is not content for conversation, nor is it something to be casually placed in the hands of anyone willing to listen. There is a deep difference between sharing and spilling. Many confuse the two. They speak their experiences not from a place of clarity, but from a place of urgency to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. But when something is sacred, it is not rushed. It is not handed to just anyone. It is carried with care, guarded with discipline, and revealed only when the moment is right, and the person on the receiving end is capable of truly understanding. When you live through something, whether it is struggle, transformation, pain, or growth, that experience holds energy. That energy is delicate. When you rush to tell everyone about it, you disperse it, you scatter its meaning, and more dangerously, you open it up to being judged, questioned, or misunderstood by people who were never meant to witness it in the first place. The sacredness of your path comes from the fact that no one else walked it, no one else felt what you felt, no one else paid the price you paid. That uniqueness makes it valuable beyond words. In ancient traditions, sacred texts were kept hidden, protected, and only revealed to those who were prepared to receive them. Your life can be seen in the same way. Not everything is meant to be spoken aloud. Not every wound is meant to be exposed. Some lessons are so profound that they require silence for their power to grow inside you. When you keep your journey close, you are not isolating yourself. You are cultivating depth. You are allowing the lesson to settle fully within you before you release it into the world. There is a temptation, especially in difficult moments, to speak out, to vent, to tell the world what you are going through. But most people do not listen to understand. They listen to respond, to compare, or to judge. That is not a safe place for your story. When you treat your experiences as sacred, you are not hiding them out of shame. You are honoring them out of respect. You know that your journey is not for entertainment or discussion. It is for learning, for evolving, for strengthening your spirit. Holding your story also prevents you from becoming dependent on external validation. When you are always telling people your pain or your success, you risk measuring the value of your journey by how others react. If they applaud, you feel proud. If they ignore it, you feel unseen. This creates a dangerous cycle where your worth becomes tied to the opinions of others. But when you keep your experiences within, you learn to validate yourself. You learn to recognize your own strength without needing it to be echoed back by the outside world. Keeping your journey sacred also trains your awareness. You become more intentional with your words. You think before you speak. You ask yourself, does this person need to know this? Are they capable of understanding it? What purpose will it serve to tell them? In doing so, you raise the quality of your communication. You stop engaging in meaningless exchanges and start reserving your truth for meaningful connections. This is not about closing yourself off. It is about elevating the standard of those who you allow to witness your growth. When something matters deeply to you, you don't throw it into the wind and hope someone catches it. You carry it close to your heart. You protect it. You give it space to evolve. The more sacred your journey becomes to you, the less you feel the urge to prove anything to anyone. And from that stillness, a quiet power begins to rise within you. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need permission. It simply exists, unshaken, unseen, but always present. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. There are thoughts, feelings, experiences, and revelations that shape who you are in the deepest way, and they are not meant to be exposed to every person you encounter. We live in a world where openness is often mistaken for honesty, where oversharing is confused with authenticity, and where boundaries are blurred by the pressure to constantly reveal ourselves. But there is a quiet wisdom in understanding that some parts of you are not meant to be shared with those who have not earned the right to see them. Your inner world is your sanctuary. It is where your pain lives, but also where your strength grows. It is where your questions arise and where your answers are born. It is the space where your spirit finds clarity, where your doubts echo, and where your vision sharpens. When you allow just anyone into that space, you risk contaminating it. Not every listener has the heart to hold your truth with respect. Some will misunderstand it. Some will manipulate it. Others will use it to define you by moments you have long outgrown. And that is why you must be selective, not secretive, about who gets to hear your story. Discretion is not distance. Choosing not to share does not mean you are cold or closed. It means you are discerning. It means you understand the value of your inner life, and you are careful about where you place it. The way you protect your inner world reflects how much you respect your growth. When you speak about your challenges or your dreams to people who cannot meet you with understanding or support, you drain yourself. You give away your energy in the hope of being seen, and in return, you often receive silence, judgment, or confusion. This does not nourish your path, it weakens it. Many people wear masks. They appear supportive, but their intentions are not rooted in love or growth. They may listen to your story not to uplift you, but to compare, to criticize, or to gossip. This is why the ability to read energy is more important than listening to words. Pay attention to how people respond to your presence, not just your story. Do they listen with genuine interest, or are they waiting for their turn to speak? Do they make space for your emotions, or do they rush to dismiss them? Do they walk with you in your silence, or do they only show up when there's something to hear? Your experiences are precious. They are not currency to be traded for attention. They are not proof of your worth. The right people will see your strength without needing the full details of your past. They will sense your depth not because you told them everything, but because your energy carries the quiet power of someone who has lived, endured, and grown. These are the people who deserve to be invited into your inner world, slowly, over time, through trust, not urgency. You are not obligated to explain yourself to anyone. You are not required to justify your choices, your scars, your path. The pressure to constantly reveal your thoughts, to open your heart, to share your vulnerabilities with anyone who asks. It is a pressure that can rob you of your peace. You must reclaim your space by knowing that silence can be more authentic than speech. Just because someone asks does not mean they are ready. Just because someone listens does not mean they care. And just because someone is close does not mean they understand. The power of holding back lies in the strength it takes to stand in your truth without putting it on display. It means you no longer need someone to validate your experience in order to feel secure in it. You stop offering explanations and start offering presence. You stop leaking energy through conversations that go nowhere and start preserving it for actions that move you forward. You become intentional with your communication, and in doing so, you grow in wisdom. When you protect your inner world, you also make room for it to expand. It becomes a place of reflection, of peace, of quiet progress. You are no longer distracted by the opinions of others. You are no longer burdened by misunderstandings. You walk with more freedom because you are no longer carrying the weight of needing to be understood by those who were never meant to understand you. And in that freedom, you become more powerful, more focused, more whole. Protecting your energy by mastering self-restraint is one of the most important disciplines in the path of personal mastery. Every day, your energy is under pressure. It is pulled, tested, and sometimes wasted in places it never belonged. The conversations you engage in, the emotions you express, the people you share your thoughts with, all of these interactions require energy. And yet, Most people spend their days leaking that energy without ever realizing how much it costs them. Self-restraint is not about suppression or hiding your feelings. It is about learning to respond instead of react, to observe instead of absorb, and to preserve instead of exhaust. When you lack restraint, you are constantly giving pieces of yourself away. You argue when it's unnecessary. You explain yourself to those who don't listen. You defend your path to those who were never meant to walk beside you. Each time you speak in places that don't require your voice, you weaken your presence. Each time you expose your thoughts in front of those who lack depth, you dilute your power. But when you master restraint, you stop bleeding energy through meaningless interactions. You learn to sit in silence, to observe, to smile, and walk away without the need to prove or explain. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Not every moment demands your opinion. Restraint teaches you that energy is currency, and like all valuable things, it must be guarded. You begin to choose your battles carefully. You understand that peace is often found in walking away, in choosing silence over chaos, in letting go of the need to be right in order to stay grounded in your truth. This is not weakness. It is strength guided by wisdom. Anyone can raise their voice, anyone can argue, but only a disciplined mind can remain still in the face of provocation. Mastering self-restraint also means setting internal boundaries. It's not just about what you say to others, but also what you allow yourself to dwell on. The thoughts you entertain, the fears you feed, the past you revisit, these are silent drains on your energy. Self-restraint begins in the mind. It is the ability to recognize a thought, question it, and decide whether it deserves your attention. Just because a feeling arises does not mean you have to act on it. Just because a memory surfaces does not mean it needs to control your present. Restraint gives you the space to pause, to breathe, and to choose how you respond to the inner movements of your mind. There is a deep strength in withholding your reaction. When someone offends you and you choose to respond with calmness, you are not letting them win. You are proving that your inner peace cannot be disturbed by external noise. When someone tries to trigger you and you remain grounded, you are showing that their chaos cannot enter your space unless you open the door. This kind of power does not shout. It does not seek recognition. It is quiet but unshakable. It is the strength of a mind that has trained itself not to be controlled by impulse. Protecting your energy is also about choosing where you place your attention. You begin to avoid environments that drain you. You start saying no without guilt. You stop engaging in conversations that spiral into negativity. You realize that not every invitation deserves your acceptance. Restraint teaches you to step back, to be selective, and to walk away when the energy does not align with your purpose. This doesn't mean you become distant or cold. It means you value your growth too much to place it in unstable hands. With time, self-restraint becomes a part of your nature. You no longer chase validation. You no longer feel the need to correct every misunderstanding or respond to every challenge. You conserve your energy and direct it inward, toward your goals, your healing, your vision. And in doing so, you become sharper. Your presence becomes more focused. People begin to feel your power, not because you constantly express it, but because your silence, your stillness, your boundaries speak louder than your words ever could. When you master self-restraint, you stop being easily moved by external forces. You don't give everyone access to your emotions. You don't explain your decisions to those who lack understanding. You don't feed situations that do not nourish your spirit. Instead, you become like a river, calm on the surface, but with a depth that cannot be measured by what is seen. You act with purpose, speak with clarity, and move with intention. In a world that encourages constant exposure, the true strength lies in restraint, in silence, and in guarding what is sacred within you. You are not obligated to share your story with everyone because your journey is not a performance. It is a path of personal growth, healing, and transformation. The power of your experience is not lessened by being unspoken. In fact, it becomes more potent when held with intention. Protect your energy, Choose your silence with wisdom, and understand that your inner world is not for public consumption. Let your actions speak where words are unnecessary, and let your presence carry the quiet force of someone who has nothing to prove but everything to become.